This is the Little Moments Count radio podcast, created in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. Each episode, you'll hear interviews with early childhood experts on how to support the important brain development that takes place in the first 1,000 days of life, just through little moments every day. Learn more at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.
FM 89.9 KMOJ, looking at 49 minutes after the hour, 3 o'clock within the Twin Cities, and letting you know, ladies and gentlemen, Little Moments Count. That's right, Little Moments Count. There's an episode of Little Moments Counts this afternoon. It's brought to you by Little Moments Count and Minnesota Public Radio. Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative focusing on helping parents and caregivers learn about the importance of developing when it comes to the brain at a young one's life at the age of, 1 all the way up to the age of 3. And letting you know that nearly 80% of the brain growth happens when it comes to the first 1,000 days of a small person's interaction of talking, playing, reading, singing, the list goes on. And letting you know, if you like more information, littlemomentscount.org. On the phone line this afternoon, we got none other than Mr. Brandon Jones. He is an executive leader, a trainer, a consultant, and also beyond that, he also has a BA in sociology at the University of Minnesota and a master's in community psychology at the Metropolitan State University. And there's a whole nother list that goes on even beyond that. But I'd like to say a good early afternoon to you, and how are you doing?
Absolutely good afternoon. I'm doing as well as I can these days, but staying warm and staying positive.
There you go. There you go. For the listening audience, when it comes to the youngsters and the youth, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the city. And matter of fact, it's not just in the city, but it's also statewide as well. So when it comes to a lot of the craziness and the confusion and that kind of thing that's going on, when it comes to the youngsters of dealing with the psychological side of what's going on, because they got this fear factor that takes place of it, they're just scared, number one. They want to know if it's okay to go outside or stay inside, that kind of thing. What would you say is something that one would say to a youngster or a youth to keep them in line or in order to get a better understanding of what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the best things that we can do as parents and caregivers and just adults who care about young people is try to keep them as calm as possible and keep them with as many healthy routines as we can. Given the nature of what our community is going through, whether it's ICE, community violence, just general fear of other things that are taking place, it's important for us to know where our children are going to be at all given times, make sure we have clear communication channels, make sure we can get the communication back and forth. They can get to us, we can get to them, and also understanding who they're going to be around and the environments they're going to be in, and try to maintain a level of calmness. Yeah, there's a lot happening, but we still want kids to have childhoods and to be able to live a life where they can have some enjoyment.
Now, you're looking at a lot of youngsters out there right now at a very young age that really has no concept of anything that's taking place around them. And then we got the parents and the caregivers that are there who are supposed to give that guiding direction. For them directly, what would you say to them of a language or a conversation or a dialogue that they should have directly with their youth just for the lineup of safety itself?
Yeah, absolutely. I think honest reassurance is one of the best things that we can do. Letting your children know what's happening as best as you know and what you can do about it. Making sure they know where they can touch base, where they feel safe, asking questions, allowing your children to ask questions, and then giving them honest answers that is age appropriate. You don't need to overwhelm them or overload them with all the things that are happening, but letting them know this is a safe area, this is not a safe area. These are people that I want you to talk to, these are people I don't want you to talk to. These are places, these are things I want you to do, these are things I don't want you to do. That clarity is going to be so important. And then having plans. If something doesn't go well, this is what I need you to do as my child, as my grandchild, as someone, as an adult who cares about you. These are things I need you to do. And then asking them for reassurance that they understand. Do you understand what I mean? Where are you supposed to go? Here's the phone number. Here's who you're supposed to text. There needs to be clarity on both sides so that we can just take the best possible care of ourselves given the nature of what's happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, letting you know that was none other than Mr. Brandon Jones, and representing Little Moments Count. Little Moments Count is a statewide collaborative that's put together when it comes to Little Moments Count and Minnesota Public Radio and KMOJ Radio. And so I'm letting you know, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to the youngsters, And when it comes to the youth and when it comes to everything that's going on all the way around, show them a little bit of love. Show these youngsters some love. Give them some hugs and let them know that it's okay and we're going to do all right and we're going to be all right. It's FM 89.9 KMOJ.
Thanks for listening to the Little Moments Count radio podcast in partnership with community radio stations throughout Minnesota. You can find the Little Moments Count radio podcast wherever you get your podcasts and at littlemomentscount.org/podcast.